In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Loft feature. In order to start with the Loft feature, you're going to have multiple work planes. So in order to get started with that, you should have watched a previous video for creating work planes. So I'm going to quickly go through this. So I'm going to start with my XY plane, and I'm going to change the visibility for this so I can see the XY plane. The next thing I'm going to do is create a new work plane offset from this given one. So I'm going to just bring this out. I'm going to just type in 1.5 inches for my offset. So now I have two separate work planes. I can now create two completely different sketches on each one of these work planes. For this exercise, I'm going to right click and create a new sketch on this particular work plane. And let's try that again. So there we go. So I'm going to have a circle drawn on this work plane. So I'm just going to pick that center point and I'm drawing. And I do have the two work planes lined up on top of each other, so I can still draw on that even though it looks like they're on the two layers. But because I selected that particular one, it knew that I was sketching on that work plane. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. And now I'm going to right click and create a new sketch on this given work plane. So click on new sketch there, and this time I'm going to draw a rectangular shape. So I'm just going to sketch something out here. I'm not applying any dimensions for this particular example, but you can definitely apply your dimensions as you need those. So now looking at this I'm going to click on the home button and look at that. So I've got a round shape and then a rectangular shape. So in order to use the Loft command, what I'm going to do is I want to create an extrusion that is going to create a geometric shape from this circle here over to your rectangle. So I'm going to finish my sketch, and then I'm going to click on the Loft command. The Loft command is going to require me to select a couple of the items. So I'm going to point to that particular section first, and then I'm going to pick this as my second sketch, and then it's going to create a 3D model of that part. Hit OK, and there is my shape. Now I'm going to do this with three work planes. So now I'm going to go back and create another work plane. This time I'm just going to drag that and drop it right there. If I wanted to type in a specific dimension, I would just type in the dimension, and that will create the distance from that original work plane. I'm going to create a new sketch on this surface here, and this time I'm going to go back to a circle. So I'm just going to draw a circle here, and then I'm going to use the Loft command. Picking on this square profile and going to the circle profile, you can see that now that image went from a round shape to a rectangle back to a round. So this is one way of doing that, and I want to just show you the difference between this one. I just want you to kind of like look at the shape. So it really kept the shape where I was going from round to square to round. I'm going to back this up just a little bit. I'm going to delete these Loft commands, and I'm just going to show you the difference between how this shape is going to look in just a second. So I'm going to take away the two steps, and I'm going to just do a Loft command between the circle to the rectangle and back to the circle. So you'll see a difference in the body. So it's just something I want to show you in case you're ever in a situation where you need to have like more of a rounded shape. So I'm going to back this out. So I'm going to delete this. It's going to ask me if I want to delete the consumed sketches and the features. and I do not want to erase that. So I'm going to keep the sketches on those 3 work planes as I work back. So I'm going to delete this one, delete that. So now I have my 3 work planes with my 3 features that I'm going to loft. So now I'm going to click on loft. Now I'm going to go back, pick the circle, the square, and then the circle again, and hopefully you kind of see how that's a little bit more of a rounded shape. So it maintained this round shape going from this rounded shape to this rounded shape, and instead of this being a hard edge, these are actually a little bit more rounded on that profile. So it's important to kind of just see that. This is a fun little command. It's fun to kind of play around with this and take a look at those and create different shapes. When you do the problem for the blow dryer handle, you're just going to have to create those 3 pieces of or 4 sketches for the geometry, and that's all you're doing is you're just lofting each one of those shapes. So play around with this command, get a little familiar with this before you attempt to draw the handle for that, and I think you'll find that you can get that done pretty quickly.